Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of T-Dog RC. I'm Tim, and in this episode we are going to be finally getting this finished, which is my Angelwings Dammit. Check it on the bottom, like that on the top. So Formula 1 inspired design. If you want to watch the previous video on how I did that, then have a look at the videos on my channel and you'll see that one. So this one really is just about finishing it off. So as you can see, I've already done some stuff. I've got the servos installed here. I need to get the motor mounted and get the radio gear and the speed controller put in place, and then obviously set it up on the radio as well. I do think I might have made a little bit of a mistake with the fuselage, which I'll come on to in a bit. It's not a major issue, but it's just going to make it a little bit more difficult to install the radio gear. But yeah, we'll get that sorted. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, and about 80% of the people who watch these videos haven't subscribed, which is pretty amazing really, then it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, but it would really help me out and I would really appreciate it. I'd love to have you on board and have you as a member of the channel. If you're into fixed wing RC, a lot of bolts, nitro and electric, and I do a little bit of fixed wing FPV as well. In fact, the next project I've got coming up I think is going to be a fixed wing FPV project. But if you're into that sort of thing, then hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button, and you'll be notified when I release a new video. And if you're enjoying what I do, and obviously it does take time to do these videos and put these videos together, even though, you know, I quite like doing it, but it would help me out if you could give me a thumbs up as well and give me a like, because that helps me out on YouTube. So anyway, let's get this on the bench and let's get stuck in. Right, well, following on from the intro, we're back on the bench, and this video is going to be the final video of the build of this, and we're just doing all the finishing touches, as I said in the intro there. So first thing I've done, I actually just quickly did this off camera, is just fit the two servos there. So these are 9-gram metal geared servos. They just went in there. This one went in no problem. This one I just had to file the back out ever so slightly, literally talking probably less than a millimetre, and that's just slotted in nicely. It's also given a bit of extra support to this fin, which I was really quite worried about. But that's actually strengthened it up a fair bit actually, and I might even run a dab of CA down there potentially, but I don't know, I don't think I need to, because what it's done is this fin was just really sort of flimsy. It's stuck down okay, it's not going to come off, but it's just side to side flimsy, but that's actually added just enough support there that it seems to have sorted it out, so that's good. So what I need to do now is just get my little pin vise, as they call them, or little hand drill, and just drill the holes out for the servo screws. So I'm just going to get that done. There is a little ply support under here. For the screw to go into, although it feels quite soft. Maybe I've just missed it a little bit there, but I think it's probably just light ply, which is be plenty for what we need. So that should do there, and then I should have, yeah, in the little servo accessory bag, got a couple of screws, so I can just lock those in place. Yeah, that tightens up nicely, just enough really to secure it in place. Okay, nice, and I'll just temporarily put an arm on each side. I'm probably going to have to drill these out a bit, usually do. But we'll just get those fastened in so I don't lose them, and then the other arms in the pack I'll just throw away. Sometimes I save them, but I don't think I need to in this instance. have got a spare little screw for the top there, which I will hang on to. Do you know what? I will just save these since I've got a spare container knocking around. Now in the pack you do get some, I'm assuming they might be, I don't know what those screws are for actually. Oh, they might, no. Oh yeah, they're probably for putting the engine mount on, the motor mount should I say. So they could well be for that. But I think I might use some bolts because they're going to be quite sharp on the other side. But I'll see. And you do get the clevises, as you can see there, but there's no control rods, which is a shame, because that would be really handy, and I'm certain they weren't in the box. I certainly haven't seen any. I have still got the box. But there's none in there. And I thought I had actually saved the old ones from the Z84 that I was using to get the bits out of, but I think I actually used those on another model. But I'm sure I have some knocking around, some little push rods somewhere. So yeah, just a bit frustrating they're not included in the set. Okay, well, I'll sort that one out in a minute. So next thing I think I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get these control horns cut out. Only need, they give you 2 in the kit, but obviously only need, sorry, they give you 4 in the kit, but I only need 2. These are just little ply control horns, which should do the job. And I will just, actually that one's okay, but that one just needs drilling out slightly maybe. That's okay. Okay, slot's already cut in the aileron, so we'll just open that up on the film, covering should I say, and then let's just see how these go in. That actually interferes with that sticker. There we go, that goes in nice. Let's just do the same on that side. Okay, I think that's in. Right, there we go, that's definitely in now. Right, and then I'm just going to run a little bit of thin CA into those. I glued the lid on the other day when I was using this by accident, so I've got to try and get this off. Cut a little bit of fuel tube to go over one of those. So going to need to drill the servo arms out, which is pretty standard. I actually think they're going to be just about the right size. Where's my little drill? Should be the right size. Don't think I'm going to put them right on the end holes. I think I'm probably going to put them about on number 3, because these are quite long arms actually, for even though they're small servos. Okay, let's see if we can make this work then. So let's I'll do this side so you can hopefully see a little bit there. I know it's not that easy to see on the camera. But we'll get that Z bend in. Like that. Oh, it's literally perfect. Amazing. Just want to winding out just a tiny little bit. The hole in the horn is a little bit too small, so I'm just going to need to drill that out as well, which is usually the case with these things. Let's try that one. There we go. Nice. Absolutely spot on. That was a real stroke of luck. Hardly any adjustment of those control links, and I think they were off the Z84. I'm sure they were. So we'll get the other side done, and then what I'll do is I'll hook a servo tester up, because I've not actually tested these servos, which I suppose I should have done before I screwed them into place. But I'll get this one hooked up, and then we'll get the servo tester on. Okay guys, that's the servos hooked up. Loads of movement, far too much I would think. So yeah, that's all looking good, working nicely. I'll fine tune these once I've got the radio, the receiver installed and got it set up on my radio, but that is looking good. And as I said, these are metal geared servos as well, so we've got plenty of torque there, so all good. So that means now I need to just get the motor and speed controller mounted, so that's going to be my next job. I've got this little skid to put on. In fact, I might just do that now. It's just obviously gluing that in place, won't take a second. And then I've got to install a little magnet on the hatch, which you do get in the little bag. So there's one magnet to go on there, and then one goes inside that little hole there, which you can see. So just got to get that done, and then I think we're about done. Obviously just got to get my little receiver in, figure out what I'm doing in terms of fastening the battery down. I think I'll just use a little bit of Velcro in there. I might try those screws that they've put with the motor, and then just put a piece of, oh no, I can't do that, because if I put a piece of foam behind, it's going to block the airflow. I'm just thinking about the battery. If I had a crash and the battery slides forwards, it's going to puncture the battery. But we'll see. I'll see how they are. So I'm going to crack on getting the motor installed. That's the next job. Okay, so in the last clip, I've obviously got these installed. I did get the little skid glued on as well. So what I need to do now, I think I mentioned this before as well, I've got to mount the motor. Actually, I have mounted this on this little ply plate, so I just need to put this ply plate onto the front here, which is not a biggie. I do just need to cut a little notch in the side of that just to allow the leads to go through. But I think I mentioned on the intro that I'd made a bit of a mistake. The thing with this is there's no instructions for it, and there's no plan or anything like that. There is a video series by Nick Chitty, as I've mentioned a few times, which is really good, and he does a really good job of explaining how to put it together. I think I watched that up to the point he was covering it, and then and then kind of cracked on myself. And one of the things that I missed was that he decided not to glue the fuselage in position. He's actually done it with a screw. So he put a screw in here. Well, in fact, that's all he did. He put one screw in there. But if I'd have done that, then for sure it wouldn't have fit nicely down here. But I could have maybe just put 2 screws here, maybe put a piece of ply underneath and 2 screws. But then, you know, they'd probably poke up through the top. So a bit of a tricky one. But obviously, I went with the gluing it option. So I've glued the fuselage on. There's no way that's going to come off. And subsequently, the issue I've got now is there isn't really enough room in this bay for the speed controller, receiver and the battery, but there is a slot in here, which I think you can just about see. There's a slot there, so you can push some stuff into this section out of the way, but it's pretty tight. And obviously if I hadn't have glued the fuselage on, I could have just done all that, got it all set up and then screwed the fuselage in position, but I'm not going to be able to do that now. But there we are, we'll work around it. So what I'm actually going to do is just make this slot in there. I'm going to get the Dremel out and just make that slot a little bit bigger. I don't think it will cause too many issues in terms of the strength of it. So I'm going to make that slot bigger so I can slide the speed controller in, and possibly even I'll get the receiver put back here as well. Obviously it'll increase the cooling a little bit more as well, having that a bit bigger. So I think if I do that, and I can always take these servos out and obviously access some stuff through the servos, through the holes there, then I'm pretty much in the same position, and then that leaves me more or less all this space here to put a battery in, which I think I'm going to need. So yeah, I'm going to get the Dremel out, I'm going to do that, and then I'll show you hopefully how I've managed to get the radio gear installed. Okay, just give you a quick update then. So I've rounded that out there, you can see, but the speed controller basically is still too big to go in there. I've had a look to see if I've got a slightly smaller speed controller, but I haven't. So what I'm going to do is, this is the smallest receiver I could find, this little FreeSky D8 receiver. I am going to be able to get that pushed back into there, out the way of the battery bay, but then the speed controller is just going to have to sit flat on the bottom of the battery bay. And then I've checked with a 1000 milliamp battery, but I really want to put a 1300 in this, and it does fit in quite easily and still enable you to put the lid on with a 1000 milliamp. But hopefully I can get a 1300 in there. Obviously I've got to see what happens with the CG as well. So that's that, and I've just Loctited. I've just taken all these back out and Loctited them back in place. So all I need to do now really is get this threaded back through, and then using the screws that we did get in the kit. I did mention earlier that there was no push rods, but then when I re-watched Nick's video, he was using some little carbon pieces which he used for push rods. But I've got a feeling I might have actually seen those in the kit, but I can't find them now. But anyway, it's fine because those ones I've fitted off the Z84 were perfect. So, and gives me a little bit more adjustment because the carbon ones, you have to glue them to the clevises, so you can't change them once you've got them glued in place, obviously. So we'll just get this screwed in. Gonna need a slightly smaller bit on my driver there. That's biting quite nicely. This I mentioned as well, if you watch my previous video about getting it covered, that I'd had some problems with this white stuff. And it's just starting to peel off at the bottom. I mean, look at that. You see that? It just does not stick. I don't know what the hell's going on. Whether the glue's just rubbish. So I'm going to have to get the iron back out, just get it heated right up and just see if we can get those bits stuck down as best I can. It's done the same on the other side as well. Really annoying. I hate it, stuff like that, when things like peel away. It just looks stupid. Anyway, we'll sort it. Right, so that's got the motor mounted. And again, looking pretty good. Everything you do on this obviously just keeps getting better and better, so that's good. So I think last little actual job I've got to do is just get these magnets fastened in place. So I've got one that goes on the top here like that, and then one just glues in here. Now obviously we've just got to make sure that these are the right way around, because the last thing you want to do, and I have done it before, is glue it on the wrong way, so the magnets actually repel each other rather than attracting to each other, which is not the best. So I think I'm just going to roughen that up a bit if I can. And hopefully that will give something for the CA to bite into. And then we'll just get a bit of this medium CA on. And then we'll plonk him on there. Bit of kicker. And we can leave that for a few minutes to go off. Then I can just get that other magnet, and let me just put a little Sharpie mark on that. So this is going to be facing down, and that's going to just go in this little hole there. I think you can just about see. So we've almost got to get that in like that. We actually want it to be slightly not flush with the top. Oh, that's not going to work. Yeah, this will do. Let me get my glue ready, because this is going to be one of those where I need to get it into position. Which way was it? It was that way, wasn't it? That was facing up. Yep. What we're saying is, we don't want it to be flush with the top, because the other magnet kind of fits into this slot that's there. Probably put a little bit too much CA on there, to be honest. I'm almost certain I'm probably going to... No, it's okay. I was going to say I was going to glue my finger to the plane then, but we're all good. Let's just see if we can test that out. It's probably going to be a bit tight just to throw all these things in. I almost think it doesn't need the magnet anyway, because it's such a tight fit anyway. but I guess it's better than nothing. There we are, it's on. So, final job I've got to do now is I need to get the receiver set up, and I need to check that the speed controller's set up the right way, because it was a pusher. Was it a pusher? I can't remember now. On the ZH4, yeah, it was. So I'm assuming it's going to be potentially going the wrong way, but I'll check that. So yeah, let me get this set up. I'm going to just get this set up on my Zorro. I've decided I tend to prefer this for smaller models, so just going to get that set up. If you've seen one of my other videos about my Radio Master, etc., I'm actually getting rid of both my TX16 and the Zorro, and I'm going to swap that for a Boxer. So any models I've got on that and a couple of drones, I'm going to transfer over to the Boxer. And then obviously everything on my TX16 I'm putting onto my Free Sky X20 tandem. But for now, we'll get it set up on here. So get that set up and then show you it all hooked up. Hopefully I've got this radio bay sorted out and we can get a battery in there. The other thing I wanted to check is, yeah, you can see, well, you're not going to be able to pick this up on the camera really, but the screws from the motor mount do just pop through the back there. So what I might do is just put a blob of hot glue is the word I'm looking for, just over those, just to make sure they're not too sharp, basically. Just in case, I don't want the battery sort of flying into those. Yeah, so I shall crack on with getting it set up on the radio gear, getting this bound, getting the model set up, and I'll show you the results. Right then, it's all finished at long last. It seems to have taken me ages to make this. I don't know why. I have struggled to get into the workshop, as I've said several times during this series. It's nothing to do with the model, to be fair. It's just been taken, yeah, just not had that much time to get into the workshop. And although I've enjoyed building it, it's not, you know, it's going to be a lot of fun. But I think sometimes the motivation is difficult with something little like this. You know, when you're building something big and it's going to be really impressive, you're a bit more motivated perhaps to come in here and do some work on it. But anyway, it's finished up looking really nice. I really like it. I think it is going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, so we've got all the radio gear hooked up on my Zorro, which as usual has run out of battery, so I've had to hook this onto the bottom of it. So yeah, we've got up and down. Let's just change. I've set some rates. We've got loads of movement. It's going to go crazy on that movement. But I've set some dual rates anyway. I've done 50, 75 and 100, and you can also see there I've added some reflex to it as well, which sounds fancy, but it's basically just up on the elevons, because you tend to need that on these little wings. So yeah, it might be a bit too much, but I'll see. Obviously I can just easily change that. It's just basically set the trim with a bit of up, and then I've copied that to the sub trim, so it resets the trim on the controller to 0, but then that position's set like that to give you the reflex. In terms of setting the mix up, I've not done that before on Edge TX, actually, I don't think, let alone the Zorro. But it's actually just a little script that you run, a little lure script, because on the TX16S I've still got OpenTX on that, and that's got like a wizard when you first set a new model up, and it asks you whether you want to set up a standard model, a flying wing, a V-tail, all that sort of stuff, but it doesn't on this. So you run you set your model up, then run the script, and then it sets all the mixers up for you, which is quite nice. The only thing I did notice was it set the rates automatically to 50%, because when I first set it up, I moved the sticks, and I was thinking, doesn't look like I've got as much movement as I thought there, but it's because for whatever reason this script's configured to set it to 50%, so I just had to go in and edit that to give me the full 100 when I've got the full rate set. But other than that, that worked really well. What else is there to mention to you? I've set the CG, and they're quite adamant about this. It says on the website in big letters, it's 38 millimeters from the leading edge, and it is nose heavy, quite nose heavy. There's absolutely nothing I can do about it unless I was to put a big load of weight on the back here somewhere. But in my experience, flying wings like to be quite nose heavy, so I'm hoping that it will be fine just like that. I mean, it's a fairly standard setup, so it's not like I've added a massive battery that I shouldn't have. And talking of that, at the moment, let me just get this hatch off. I've got 1,000 milliamp battery in there, and as you can see, it's pretty tight. But it does go in, and I have tried a 1,300 milliamp, which is what I really want to use, just to get, I know for a fact with 1,300 milliamp I'll get about 5 minutes flight time out of this. So I want to try and do that, and I did fit the 1,300 in there as well. So it does go in, it's just very tight. But if I just take this out, basically what I've ended up doing, it's a tad messy, but I enlarged that hole, as you saw, and I've actually got the receiver inside here, so the receiver's under there. I haven't got the aerials in the optimal position, 90 degrees, but I'm not going to be flying this thing very far away, so hopefully it'll be all right. And then I've just left the speed controller in like that, and that obviously gets sort of pushed to the bottom when you put the battery in. But it's not perfect, but there's hardly any room. The only slight concern I've got is cooling. I don't know how hot it's all going to get in there. I mean, obviously you've got the vent on there, and there is some holes in the front as well, and then you've got these vents out the back, so it should be all right, hopefully. But we'll just have to see about that one. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that wrapped it all up, really. So hope you've enjoyed following along with this build. I will be doing a maiden, obviously, and I'll film that. Not quite sure when that's going to be, because we're coming up to Christmas and the weather's pretty ropey in December, although we might have a couple of calm days next week potentially. But of course the other issue is it gets dark early, so it's difficult to get down the field. But if I do get a chance, I might just take a couple of batteries with me and chuck it in the car, which of course is what it's perfect for, and film the maiden. And I've tested the motor, by the way, for the direction. That's the little prop I'm using, and yeah, it's going in the right direction, obviously, so that's good. So yeah, there we are. Hope you've enjoyed following along with that. If you're into fixed wing, balsa, nitro, electric, also do a little bit of FPV, then please subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, but I would love to have you on board as a member of my channel. If you've enjoyed the video, then give me a thumbs up, and if you want to know about the maiden, then if you hit the bell icon, then you'll be notified when I bring that video out. And of course, as ever, if you've got any comments or any questions or anything like that, stick them in the comments box, and I'll always get back to you. All right, thanks very much. This is probably going to be the last video, so if you made it this far, really appreciate it for watching this far, and I guess I will say Merry Christmas to those who celebrate it, and a Happy New Year. I hope everyone has a good time and a good break, and I'll see you soon for the next one.